Hi, and welcome to this week's mini pick a card reading. So, my mini pick a card readings go up every Wednesday. And when I do my mini pick a card readings, obviously I use miniature cards, and that way my viewers can have more options. However, the readings themselves are also miniature. They tend to go a lot more fast. This week we're going to be using the Sea Melodies miniature cards by Jessica Lee. We're going to be using the Personal Oracle by the Dark Exact, okay? And we'll be using just a mini Rider-Waite tarot, okay? That said, our question this week is, what is the nature of this relationship? So this is a really popular question. A lot of people want to know, is this a soul connection? Is this something that is more, one word people use is karmic, and what I'm going to be looking for is two things here mostly. I'm going to be looking at what stage of the relationship is this right now and where is it going, that kind of thing. And I'm also going to be looking at that spiritual component, okay? Now, that said, I want to make sure that you guys understand that I cannot verify any kind of spiritual connection between you and your person, okay? That's got to be done on your own. It's your own journey. And part of that journey, when you find somebody that you have that kind of connection with, is being able to identify that, okay? So basically, it's like you're supposed to be the ultimate authority on that. So don't let me take that authority away. I'll just tell you what I see, okay? And what I would describe it using my own belief system, okay? So again, please don't attach too much to what I say because ultimately you're the expert, okay? All those disclaimers aside, let's go ahead and name our piles. Pile number 1, the red stone. The red stone is pile number 1. The purple stone is pile number 2. The green is pile number 3. Pile number 4 is the black. Pile number 5 is the light blue. Pile number 6 is the dark blue. Pile number 7 is the white. Pile number 8 is the brown. Pile number 9 is the pink, and the 10th pile is the clear. All right, so while you guys are picking your pile, or multiple piles for those of you who have multiple persons that you're asking about, I do want to mention that anything you need to know about me is going to be in the description. If you need to get a hold of me for whatever reason, my email's in there. There's also links to various, places you might be, you might want to check out. There's also a lot of information in that description that has to do with getting private readings. And of course, private readings, we can really go into depth when we're talking about your person. This is just a general read for the general public, okay? So I do want to mention that too. Another thing you'll find there is the timestamps. I know a lot of people want to know where the timestamps are. Sometimes I have enough time to put them up right away, and sometimes I'm just not around when the videos go up because I time them to go up at certain times. So just wanted to go ahead and say that. I don't want to waste any more of your time, so we are going to go ahead and start with the piles. If you are still picking, please pause the video and take as long as you need to, okay? Alrighty. Just going to move some of these a little bit out of the way so we are able to see each one of these cards as clearly as possible. All right, pile number 1, those of you who picked the red stone. So we have the star and the moon. Oh wow, 2 astral bodies. Okay, we have the clover and the spell. Okay, so, and then your guidance card is listen. Okay, first off, your intuition is playing a really huge part of in this, okay? Not only, don't get freaked out if because the spell kind of sounds like, ooh, there might be something dark around this. No, it doesn't mean that. The spell is talking about bringing things, creating the situation, bringing things from your mind into reality, creative endeavor, that kind of thing, okay? So there is something about this relationship that's faded, okay? We've got the clover and the star, okay? So it's like you guys are supposed to meet, okay? You guys were supposed to meet for some kind of important reason, okay? We've got the moon card, which does have to do with intuition, women's intuition especially, okay? If you guys are a woman, you know, or identify with the feminine aspect, that might help, you understand that your guidance is to listen to your intuition, okay? For those of you who don't identify that way, the listening has to do with listening to your partner, okay? Or listening to the person that you're interested in, okay? And again, you know, gender, whatever, I'm just talking about one of you guys is going to be real intuitive and the other one not as intuitive, okay? Because everybody is. It's just... yeah. So what's the nature of this? The best thing I can say is that you guys are meant to meet each other, okay? What is the nature of the relationship? Like, where is it right now? It wants to come about. It wants to come about so badly, okay? And you do have luck on your side. Somebody has to get more... they have to express their emotions more, or they have to express how they're feeling more. That's what they've got to do. And if you're feeling like, oh, that's the other person, how can I have any kind of control over that? You know, maybe what it is that they are expressing their feelings, but it's just not being listened to, okay? So make sure that you're listening not only to what they're saying, but the pauses. Make sure that you're listening to what your own heart says and what your own vibes are saying, regardless of gender and all of that. And, you know, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and just assume that you're the one that needs to open up and go ahead and speak to your emotions in this relationship too, okay? Because that's how relationships happen, alrighty? But just know, yeah, there is definitely a sense of fate, of luck, of divine timing involved in you guys, your relationship, alright? Okay, moving on to the second pile, the purple stone. So we have the 8 of Swords, we have the 5 of Swords, we have change here, we've got the hourglass and the candle. Okay, so I'll try to phrase this as best as I can. What's going on in your relationship is that both you and your person are either extremely intellectual people that just don't get on that feeling level very often, or one or both of you are just really stuck in this kind of circular logic, overanalyzing, being really anxious, feeling really nervous and that kind of thing, kind of having a cloudy mind, like I don't know which direction to go, that kind of thing. I usually don't say this, but for those of you who've picked this and it's like, yeah, that's where I am, I would really suggest going back to the very beginning of this video, pausing it and trying to find another pile, because this is more a reflection of your own mental state than a reflection so much of the relationship itself, okay? For those of you who are like, I don't really know, and I, you know, whatever, we have a situation where we've got really cloudy feelings and thoughts right now, okay? I feel like things aren't working. I feel like just the way it's going right now is just not gonna work. We've got like waiting for very, very long time for things to happen. With the candle and the hourglass, it describes waiting and that kind of thing. And this is about chance, okay? So it's like, okay, so you've taken a risk. So has this risk worked or is it not working? Ultimately, you've got to decide whether or not that's true for you. If this chance is worth taking for you, go for it. Absolutely. Otherwise, I just feel like this is a really cloudy, really like kind of complicated situation, all right? And again, like I said, it's like somebody's waiting for something that I feel isn't going to happen. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, like I said, this could just be a reflection of your own mental state right now. Just being like really anxious, like, oh, I really need to find out what the answer to this question is. And if that's where you are, I would just say, go ahead and try to empty your mind as much as possible. Take deep breaths and go back to the beginning of this video, pause it when you see all the cards out, and try to find which pile calls to you more than this one, okay? Or as much, okay? Because I really feel like this is one of those situations where the viewer might be having some kind of interaction with the energy here, because it feels a little bit wrong for me, okay? All right, guys. Okay, so those of you who picked the third pile, the green stone, here is your cards. We have Wild, the Four of Pentacles, the High Priestess, the Crown, and the Tree. Okay, so one thing that you'll notice, and I'm speaking from the Northern Hemisphere, and I just want to go ahead and say, because my best friend lives in the Southern Hemisphere, I understand that the seasons are switched. It doesn't matter whether or not you're watching this now in April or if you're watching it in the middle of December. It's going to be true regardless, okay? So I'm just saying that this is, like, it's coming to me intuitively because the pictures that I'm getting is about what's happening to the trees right now, okay, in the spring in the Northern Hemisphere. That's why I say that. Okay, so that said, let's get to your reading. So one or both of you, most likely both of you, are really trying to hold on to this situation and really focusing on what's happening in the physical world. Like, is this person doing what I want them to do? Why aren't they doing what I want them to do? Do they really feel this way? Do they not feel this way? That kind of thing. Right now, that physical stuff can be kind of thrown out because the bottom line is both of you want this, okay? And then really just listen to your intuition. Trust the relationship. I almost want to say something my dad told me when I was younger, when I was really jealous of another girl. It was so dumb. It had to do with musical aptitude. And he was all like, gosh, Cassie, have a little confidence. It's like, that's kind of what I want to say. And just know that I say that with love. I say that with the same amount of love as my dad meant. My dad was wonderful to me. And it's just like, it's like, you got this, okay? Because, like, you're destined to succeed. Like this is, it's like, this relationship is such a jewel. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you guys are experiencing what feels like a recognition of your person as, like, being somebody from somewhere else, like maybe like deja vu, or maybe just this kind of feeling like, gosh, this person's really special. I don't know what about it is, but it's just, this person's really, really special. And there's something about this connection that's like a little bit more meaningful, okay? Because, I mean, really think about it. In the 13 through 1500s and everything, how many people were actually royalty, right? Not a whole lot. And so it kind of feels like that, so it's an extremely special relationship. You don't have to cling to it so much. Because it's gonna happen. It wants to happen, okay? With the tree, just understand it's gonna be going through some really positive changes really quickly, okay? We've got a bear tree here on the card, but what's happening right now is that it's spring and trees are starting to get their leaves and they're starting to really flourish, okay? And understand, all relationships go through cycles, just like trees go through the cycles during the seasons. So I do want to mention that, but it's like, if you feel like your relationship's kind of stagnant right now, or things just aren't happening, it's about to happen, okay? And then we have Wild. I just want to kind of look at this. Yeah, we've got believe in your otherworldly beauty. I really feel like that's a great way of putting it. It's like, it's not so much about you or the person. It's more like your relationship. Believe that this is something that's kind of otherworldly, that it comes from a different place than what you've experienced up until this point. And because of that, it has like a little bit different rules. It's like, let's say the rules are what you're used to. It's like you take those rules and you tilt it a little bit to one side, and then that's the rules for this relationship. It's like it's just a little bit different. It's like modified a little bit because it's a little bit otherworldly. But this feels like a very positive thing. This is one of those situations that it's gonna work if you stick with it. If you don't feel like sticking with it is a good idea, then definitely get out of it, because this wants to work. That's the way it is. And this person's always going to be really special to you regardless, okay? And the same goes for them. All right? Okay, hi, pile number 4, those of you who picked the black. We have Optimism, the Hermit, the 7 of Cups. We have the Bloom and the Root. Wow, that's kind of profound here. Okay, so think about the plant, okay? So it's really important for the plant to be able to derive a lot of nurture and nutrients from the soil and into the root system. The healthier the root system is, the bigger the bloom is going to be on a flower, right? Or at least that's the idea of these two cards coming up next to each other. It's like, the stronger your foundation, the better you can bloom. So this is feeling like a more slow burn than a kind of quick, intense, relationship here. And it feels like something that is very deliberate. Okay, like there's something like what would I call it? It's like perpetual about this situation. Like you guys are kind of, it's like you guys are moving forward without even meaning to move forward. And it's almost like the relationship is driving it rather than you, the viewer, or your person, which is like kind of weird, but that's really what's going on. The relationship is kind of like making itself known. I feel like this could be a very profound soul connection. It could also be a connection that doesn't have anything to do with that. It's like, for some of you guys, that's what it's going to be. And for others, it's just this crazy like attraction thing that is kind of has a mind of its own. And I think that which one that is depends on just how strong this energy is right here, okay? We've got the energy of the Hermit, okay? So are you guys both introverts? That's something to think about. Are you both people who are very reflective when you go through something very profound? Have you spent a lot of your time in your life alone, or feeling like you're not really a part of society because you're so different, you're ostracized, that kind of thing? Kind of think about that, and think about your person too, because what you'll find is you and your person will fit this characteristic. Now, it might be for some of you guys, one of you fit this really, really profoundly, and that might be, enough. But I get the impression that the ones that have the most profound connection are going to be like, both of you are going to be like that. We also have the 7 of Cups, which indicates to me two things. For those of you who are wondering if your person's attracted to you, yes, they're very attracted to you. This is kind of like my card that tells me that somebody's been fantasizing, like there's a lot of attraction and somebody's been fantasizing about that attraction, that kind of thing. I think that for the majority of you, though, this is just talking about you guys have so many different ways of expressing this relationship. Some of you guys are going to be fine being friends. Some of you guys are going to be fine being like business partners, or you guys won't settle unless you're married, that kind of thing. I mean, it's about the two of you creating that yourself, okay? But stay optimistic, because this is a very positive relationship for both of you. With the Root and the Bloom, we've got a very healthy situation, okay? So yeah, stay positive, because I mean, seriously, no matter what, if your person withdraws a lot and everything and needs some time to think about things before they can, that's normal. That's normal for them, at least. And understand that there's nothing about that has to do with you. That's just their personality. Right? Okay. So, those of you who picked the light blue, we've got pile number 5. We've got Choose Wisely. We have the King of Cups and the King of Wands. Oh, wow. That's intense. We've got the Bell and the Shell. Interesting. Okay, so we're talking about a situation that's both passionate and fiery and also has a lot of depth, okay? So we have got we've got a blend of fire and water, and you would think that that might not go together very well, but it's like, it kind of feels like it goes back and forth, but it also is in this place where it can kind of come in harmony as well. One thing that this reminds me of is different images for different kinds of burning fire. How some fire burns really red, and some fire burns like blue, and that's something that it comes to mind. I mean, I'm not gonna go as far as to say that, you know, characterize this relationship as a certain kind of relationship, but I can say that it does feel like it has that soul connection there. We also have the bell, which to me, I associate that with not only spirituality, because you know, we've got handbells that are connected to being in like a church or some kind of place of worship, okay? But we also have the wedding bells, you know? So it's like, I feel like this is a situation where the two of you are a very good match. The two of you do have some kind of spiritual connection going on there. And then we've got this shell, which is like, it's like this timelessness to your relationship as well. So again, this really feels like a spiritual connection, and it might even be one of those situations where you are in a situation, like it might be one of those situations where a lot of the relationship happens on such a spiritual level that it's really hard to even kind of anchor it down to the physical. And for those of you, it's not that it's not really happening. It's just that it's really, really hard to translate that kind of energy into reality, into even language, you know, that kind of thing. So it's very intense when it comes to that. All right. And your advice is choose wisely. Okay. By discerning. You don't necessarily have to get married to this person in order for your relationship to be honored, okay? You don't necessarily have to be in a romantic relationship with this person in order for your relationship to have meaning. You know, I have this sense with this kind of energy, even though it's this intense, that there might be some pretty big obstacles in your way. And you know, the two of you can get through anything together, you know, but you guys have to have that same vision in order to do that. And as long as you and your person agree that the two of you need to be together, then huge. It's okay to not have that romantic relationship with this person. You guys are going to be connected. This person's not going anywhere. You guys are going to be connected. You guys are going to continue to talk. There's nothing that can separate you when it comes to that kind of stuff. Okay. So I do want to mention that. And again, this timelessness, I feel like this has been repeated over and over and over again. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of past life thing going on here too, right? Okay. I can't remember if I went to dark blue first or if I went to clear, and I think that I went to dark blue first. All right, pile number 6, those of you who picked the dark blue. Here is your reading. For your guidance, we have Prudence. Interesting. We have Judgment, Page of Pentacles, the Arrow, and the Anchor. Okay. So yeah, this is a soul connection for sure. There's definitely a lot of magnetism here. You guys both feel called to bring this about. You guys both feel that magnetic pull, that strong attraction, and it's really like exciting even. But we've got the Page of Pentacles here, which lets me know that not only is it on that level, but it's also going to be easy to manifest this into reality. That gives me the feeling that when we get from like a very, very easy like soulmate connection, or a connection where it's like you guys have agreed to be partners, you know, that kind of thing. That doesn't, I'm not trying to cheapen the relationship by saying it's not this or that, but that's what I would call it. I mean, it could, you know, just understand I'm using the words that make sense to me. We've got the Arrow, so you guys are both in love with each other. You don't have to worry about that. You know, this person is in love with you. And we've got the Anchor, so it's like you guys are stuck. You guys are stuck together. All right? And then with Prudence, it's like, understand you guys don't have to move fast, this is going along nicely. The anchor is connected to a ship, and a ship moves very slowly. Yeah, understand that, and understand, for those of you who haven't been physically intimate with your person, this might be a situation where kind of delaying that might be better, because it's like the whole act of getting to know one another is like really important in this situation. So as long as, don't worry if you've been intimate with your person. I'm not saying that like you have to be like perfectly virginal and everything. Not at all. I'm just saying that it might be a little helpful to make certain that you are spending a lot of quality time with learning the other person as well. Okay, that's what I mean by that. But yeah, you guys are good. Yeah, no problems there. All right, pile number 7. Those of you who picked the white, we've got Anchor, the Ace of Wands, the Emperor, the Leaf, and the Moon. Oh wow, this is good. So you guys have like this perfect balance between like this like creativity and like this creativity and intensity and all of that kind of stuff, and like the practicality, it's like I wouldn't be surprised if one of you's just really like head in the clouds and kind of impulsive maybe, and all of that kind of stuff, and then the other one's just very like down to earth and very practical and all of that kind of thing. That doesn't necessarily mean that, I mean, just because I'm saying that doesn't mean that that's the way it has to be. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be surprised if that's what was going on. But it's like the two of you, and I don't feel like it swings back and forth like it's just crazy all over the place. I feel like it's more like it blends and it creates this really balanced relationship. The way that it feels to me is like, well, first off, both of you guys want to be together. I don't feel like there's any resistance, there, like if there is resistance, it's from not wanting to express feelings because of some kind of like very human like nervousness of being rejected, that kind of thing, like very, very kind of superficial things, when you compare it to the fact that the overall picture is just so intense to me, and it's just so right. But yeah, one thing that might be going on too is that one of, like I said, one of you might be very, very intuitive and very aware that this connection kind of goes beyond, while the other one is just like, I'm just not into that stuff at all. I'm just not that kind of person, and that kind of thing. That doesn't mean that the relationship isn't special, okay, or isn't on a higher level. It just means that this person is just pretty set in their ways and pretty being, they're not gonna match you there, okay? And if that's something that you need, then I would say definitely move on to somebody else, because this person's never, I don't feel like this person's ever gonna get to that point where they're gonna be really, really open to all of this stuff. But they're okay with you being it. It's fine. They're kind of even interested, but it might even be hurtful if your person might be a little maybe critical of it, or particularly skeptical of it to the point where they're totally closed off. Just kind of keep that in mind. We have the Leaf. That lets me know that this is a very changeable situation. Now the nature of it isn't going to change, but that, where you are right now could change really quickly, okay? But the bottom line is, as long as you follow your intuition, or they follow their intuition, if you're the skeptic, that, things will work out, okay? So it's like, I kind of feel like this situation, the more intuitive one needs to really stay in focus with that. Either way, we've got the Anchor, and that's, that really kind of solidifies it for me. Is like, this is a lasting relationship. Nobody's going anywhere, that kind of thing. We actually got the Anchor in another pile, and it's like, it's like you're stuck together, that kind of thing. If this doesn't happen, it's because you walk away, not the other person, because the other person's going to want to stay regardless, okay? Hopefully that helps. Alrighty, those of you who picked pile number 8, the brown pile, here is your reading. We have Reflect as your, as your guidance card. We have the Tower, the Ace of Swords, the Fossil, and the Scythe. Okay, so one thing that I'm noticing here right away is that we've got the Ace of Swords and the Scythe. You know, we've got this sharp stuff, okay? So I'm feeling like, okay, you guys are either really, really witty, or this is a relationship that might need to be cut out, okay? Just you know, putting it out there. The important part is to think about it, okay? Really, really think about it, because I feel like this could be a really positive thing if the two of you kind of get out of old habits, because where you're going right now is like a crisis situation. It doesn't feel healthy. And I feel like it doesn't feel healthy because you keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again, or you're stuck in the same kind of cycle. Now, I say this in every single relationship that I see that looks like it could be this kind of relationship. If you are in an abusive situation with your person, regardless of what kind of connection you have, you need to get out of that, okay? You have to protect yourself. You have to protect anybody who cares about you in your life, and all of that kind of stuff. That, you know, you don't have to reflect on that. Just get out as soon as possible. There's resources in your area, okay? That said, if this is just feels really, really stressful, I would say, you know, reflect and try to figure out what is something that I could do differently. You know, what is the cycle, and what would need to happen in order for that cycle to be broken. If like me and my person were a movie, you know, we're on a movie, you know, we were characters in a movie, what would I want the characters to do so they could get better? That kind of thing. And I would say kind of throw that out there, because that, you know, that's what needs to happen for this relationship to take place. Since this relationship's so intense, and since we have the Fossil, it does look like there's some kind of past life issues that are going on here as far as the nature of the relationship. So there is a kind of spiritual connection there, but the whole nature of this is to figure out how to change it, okay? And maybe the change means walking away from it, okay? Maybe the change is, you know what, I'm not going to do this to myself this time, you know, that kind of thing. It really depends on the specific situation. And I would give you guys more specifics, but I'm like, that's where they're stopping, you know, as far as giving me any kind of extra information. There's too many different kinds of relationships here for me to get more specific than that, okay? Just know that this doesn't mean that you guys aren't gonna work out. It just means that you guys have a lot of challenges, and it's time for something new in the relationship, or it's time for something new as in getting away from the relationship, okay? And the Ace of Swords, again, one other thing I want to say about this is the Ace of Swords does refer to kind of those aha moments in our cognition, where we finally get to a point where it's like, oh, that's what I need to do, you know, that kind of thing. So I do feel like you're moving towards that moment where you figure out what needs to be done. It's just, you know, again, right now, where it is right now needs to change. That's basically it. And you probably already know that. All right? Okay. All right. Those of you who picked the pink stone, pile number 9, here is your reading. We have Stillness as your guidance card. We have the Queen of Swords. We've got the Devil. We have the Lens and the Dagger. Okay. Somebody's really afraid they're going to get hurt in this situation. And what needs to happen is some huge self-examination. And I kind of feel, sometimes I get the impression that it's either my viewer or the person they're asking about. I feel like this is kind of half and half. I feel like some of you guys are the ones that are afraid of getting hurt. And that's probably why you're even watching this, because it's like, well, if I know the nature of the relationship, then maybe then I can put myself in a position where it's like, I'm not afraid of it, you know, or I'm not afraid of this intensity or you know, or whatever. But we've got the Dagger and the Devil here. kind of ruling what is a really brilliant connection between mind and heart here. And so when we talk about stillness, we're talking about like meditation. We're talking about self-reflection, not just looking deeper in the relationship. I kind of feel like that's what you guys do anyway, regardless of which half you are. But we're talking about self-reflection. Because I feel like there's a lot of like awareness focused on the other person, and even awareness on the relationship itself. But it seems like I've had that upside down this whole time. I want to be like, why didn't you guys tell me? But obviously that makes no sense. But yeah, it's like you guys just need to do some self-reflection. For example, are you reenacting some kind of drama that you're playing out over and over based on a relationship that you had with somebody a long time ago? For example, let's say that let's pretend like the first 3 boyfriends I had were all very abusive to me, okay? The next boyfriend I had after that, I might think, okay, this person's going to be abusive towards me just because that's what keeps happening. And my fear that that person might be abusive towards me would be completely rational, even though it's irrational. I know that it's like what? But it would be rational because it's like I've learned through repetition, and I've learned through experience that boyfriends are abusive. That kind of thing. I feel like that's kind of what's going on here. I'm not saying that that's exactly what it is. Like, you're afraid that this person's going to abuse you. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's like you've played out this role over and over again enough times, and you've gotten hurt by it that you're afraid that something's going to repeat. Just understand that regardless of what it is, I feel very strongly that that's not the case here. I feel like this is like baggage. This is like leftover. And there's nothing wrong with having that. And I know that that's kind of thought of as a bad word or something that's not desirable or whatever. I mean, here's the deal. Relationships, romantic or non, are, provide an arena for you to work out all of that crap that you have inside of you, okay? Like, because that's what every single human I know does when they get into a relationship, okay? So don't even worry about this baggage. Everybody has that. But I'm just saying that it's getting in the way. And I really think some self-reflection could help that. The nature of this relationship is that you have a very, very strong mind, heart, and body connection with this person, okay? It's really, really strong. I think that going through this kind of stuff and learning to be less afraid, okay, is going to be the process you need to be before you can get to the point where you see the relationship for the nature of what it is, okay? Right. Hi, pile number 10. Those of you who picked the clear stone, here is your advice. We have Journey as your, oh good, oh wow, this is great. Sorry, we have Journey as your advice card. We have the Hierophant, we have the 10 of Cups, the Wings, and the Amulet. Okay, so this is a very divine relationship, guys. I'm excited because this is great energy. So we have a spiritual teacher, okay? So you're learning spiritual lessons in this relationship. We also have this kind of, I call this card the happily ever after card, the 10 of Cups. You've got everything you want in this situation. If you want to be with this person, that's what's going to happen. If you don't want to, you've got to run because that's where it's going. Okay, with the amulet, that just lets me know that you guys are protected. No matter what obstacles you face, no matter what kind of diversity or what kind of challenges or anything like that, you guys are going to be protected. You're going to get through it. That's something that's really, really special. Especially in times where divorce rates are really high and, that kind of stuff. I mean, you guys don't have to get married in order to, have that relationship, but I'm just saying that it's like, this relationship is like, it's almost like it exists in its own little bubble. And I really like that. We've got the wings, it's like, this is from heaven, you don't have to be a Christian to understand what I mean by that. It's like, it's heavenly. It's a very spiritual connection. And then we have journey. Yeah. Okay. So it's like, first off, this can refer to a long distance relationship. Just throwing it out there for you guys in case it's just, that's an obvious one. But what I really feel like this is, it's like you guys are kind of like the Fool starting out on the Fool's journey through the major arcana, where he's getting through every single lesson and he needs to learn before he gets to the world where he has everything he needs, And I kind of feel like that's a way of explaining it. You guys are either beginning that journey together or you're on that journey. In fact, this is such a strong relationship. I've got to say, this has got to be, you guys had to have picked this just for confirmation, not because you're nervous about anything, because seriously, there's nothing wrong. Nothing at all. If there's any complaint that you have about this relationship, I would say just be as direct as possible with your person, because again, it's protected. You're not going to mess this up. You can't mess it up. The only way that this is not going to happen, if you you'd have to run really far too, to escape it, because it wants to happen. Like I feel like it's already happening, So keep that in mind. Right, thank you so much for staying till the end of my video. I want to thank all of you for the amazing comments and likes and subscribes. It's just so exciting to watch this channel grow, and I really couldn't do that without you guys, so I really thank you for that. So this particular reading was a little bit difficult for me to do because I don't like to confirm soulmate, twin flame, whatever connections, okay? I really don't like to do that. But I do know that it's an important thing, and something that a lot of people are concerned about. And the best I can do is say what my impressions are and the kinds of things that I'm picking up on. Please use your own intuition with that. And if you are in an abusive relationship, get out. Just because somebody tells you that this person's your soulmate or your twin flame or whatever it is, it doesn't mean that you have to stay in a relationship that's abusive or in a relationship where you are in pain. If you are in more pain during your time than having pleasure and happiness, then you've got to really look at your life and figure out what you need in order to be happy, And that comes from the psychology major of me, please understand that. I'm not trying to be mean or tough or whatever. I'm just, I really do care about you guys, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you quality advice that's based in reality, as well as obviously intuitive advice. And so I really feel like it's important to say that for those of you guys who have stayed. Another thing about this particular reading is that some of the card combinations that came out were a little surprising for me. They shouldn't have been, but they were. If you're in a situation and you really feel like you need some guidance about it and this didn't really fulfill your needs there, reach out to me or another advisor that you trust, and maybe have a private reading about it, because it's like, I as myself and as knowing other people that do the same thing that I do, those private readings can be really, really helpful. Okay. I'm not trying to advertise myself and say, oh yeah, just come here. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, find somebody you trust, and go to them, because they're going to be able to give you a lot more detail. But ultimately, trust yourself, because that is the most important aspect of this particular situation. All right, guys? Thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you for all of your support, and I will see you tomorrow with the pick a card reading.